So first modification was upgrading from the factory steel 16-inch bar to a 20-inch replacement. So one of the key things here with this replacement is that obviously it's longer, so it'll enable me to cut longer, wider pieces of wood. But it also has this hole out at the tip. The steel bar, it has the same hole, but in this blade it's not punched out. So I don't know if you're supposed to be able to punch that out, but I needed a longer bar anyway. So I got the longer bar. The advantage of having the hole here is my mill was just clamping the end of the bar. So if you put too much pressure out towards the tip on the mill, it would slide, and this would actually run into the chain, and that happened once or twice. Now what I can do is I can tap this, and once I clamp it on there, I can run a bolt through this hole. I have a 1/4 piece of just a 1/4 2-inch bolt, and I'll be able to thread that through that hole, and that'll physically prevent the tip of the saw from moving in the mill, so it's going to be a lot safer. In order to tap a 1/4 hole, you need to drill it with the number 7 drill bit. .20, I can just run it in a standard drill. I'll use a little bit of cutting fluid. Now the trick here is to turn the chuck out of the drill mode so that if it does get caught, it doesn't break the bit, doesn't break the tap. After it's tapped, I'll just use a countersink to clean up the threads to make it easy to start the bolt. The other side of the clamp is going to need a clearance hole that lines up with the drilled and tapped hole. So for clearance for the 1/4-inch bolt, I'm going to use a 17/64. So I'll mark this, line it up, and drill all the way through. So these bolts, the 5/16 bolts will still go through the end like that, and they'll hold the majority of this together, and then this basically will pin through the bottom. Yeah, see, that's perfect. So the cross brace that used to be in here, I already cut it loose. I need to move it over about 4. Kind of got to eyeball this, right? So this should be perfectly plumb on the blade, and this should be plumb on the blade. So the way this thing is designed, the thinnest I think it can go is like 1.25 inches or something like that. So I'll probably get this lined up, tack it, and then see where I'm at.
So things went downhill pretty rapidly from here. The saw didn't want to start, and when I did get it started, it basically had no power to pull the chain through this long cut. 6 months since I shot this video, and since then I learned a pretty valuable lesson about small engines and what oil you need to use in them. So basically there's 2 types of engines. There's 4-stroke engines and 2-stroke engines. And a 2-stroke engine, it uses oil mixed in with the gas to run. It helps lubricate the cylinder and a couple other cooling benefits and things like that. But within the 2-cylinder engine category, there's air-cooled and water-cooled, and they each use different types of oil. And I had no idea. I've never really thought about it or considered it. I always just figured, you know, they say 2-cycle marine, and then and the other one just says 2-cycle. So I had bought 2-cycle marine oil because the value at the time was a lot better than the small engine stuff, because it was in the middle of the winter and I couldn't find any 2-cycle small engine at my local store. But if you put 2-cycle marine in a 2-cycle small engine like a chainsaw or weed whacker or something like that, it will not run. So I spent like the last 6 months thinking all of my 2-cycle equipment was bad, when really I had mixed up 2-cycle water-cooled oil into my gas and it would not run in anything.
So it's kind of raining out today, but these are two of the slabs that I was cutting in that prior piece of the video. I had kind of straight line cut one of these, but they're about 1.25 inches thick, and yeah, they're pretty good slabs. They've just been kind of drying outside and in the basement a little bit. I'll show you some that I've sanded out a little. Finished out boards that I cut. This board's only about 2 feet long, but like I said, it's about 1.25 inches thick. Overall, I'm really happy with this. This wood was free. I got it from alongside the road, and I spent about $40 on that longer bar and chain combination, and the chainsaw I already had and the steel I already had. So I got about $40 or $50 into this project, and I'm able to slab up some nice thick boards. In addition to getting some cool boards out of this, I learned a really valuable lesson with 2-stroke engine oil, or 2-stroke oil. Never have I ever thought about using different oil, you know, for small engines versus marine. So I spent like the last 4 months thinking I had destroyed probably close to $5,000 worth of small engines between all my chainsaws and my boat motors. I've got the correct oil gas mix in mostly everything now, and things seem to be running a lot better, so that was a huge relief. I was pretty frustrated the last 6 months with thinking that I had trashed, you know, a few $1,000s worth of equipment. So thanks for checking out the video. I hope you learned something about the chainsaw mill, or what you can do if you want to build one of those for not too much money, if you have some steel laying around. And hopefully everybody uses the correct oil in their equipment. I did some more research. There's some universal oils. I don't think I'm gonna mess with them, because pretty much all the high-end chainsaws and stuff say don't use that stuff. They just say use small engine oil, and if you're doing a boat or an outboard, use marine oil. So thanks for checking out the video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I've got more content that I'm gonna be working on, hopefully more regularly again.